You were not born a soldier, not a knight, and definitely not a hero. You were born as the person sent forward to test whether the plan works or whether you die. You are a siege engineer. Today, you will live one life. The life of a person whose calculations decided the outcome of wars, but whose name was almost never written down. And by the end, you'll understand why siege engineers were feared by their own side more than by the enemy. You were born in a city that gets besieged far too often. Before you can read, you already know the difference between the sound of a stone hitting a wall and a body hitting the ground. You fall asleep to the low roar of trebuchets and wake up to the shouts of watchmen. Your father doesn't wear armor. He doesn't carry a sword. Instead, his hands are always dirty, covered in ink and dust, surrounded by parchment filled with calculations, and eyes belonging to a man who is always expecting the worst. He is a siege engineer. And very early on, you realize this is not a profession. It's a sentence passed down by inheritance. While other children play at war, you learn to count. Angles, weight, tension, pressure. Your father explains it simply. If a soldier makes a mistake, one man dies. If I make a mistake, hundreds die. If you make a mistake, no one will even remember your name. By the age of 12, you already know the most important rule of war. Commanders do not die first. The ones who die first are the ones who test the calculations. You walk up to the wall not with a weapon, but with a rope and a level. Around you stand soldiers. They look at you with irritation and fear. Because if you make a mistake, they will be the ones climbing that ladder. You test the siege tower first, not the soldiers. You walk beneath incoming arrows, checking the joints, listening to the way wet wood creaks. If the rope is pulled too tight, it snaps. Too loose and the tower tilts. One wrong calculation and everything collapses. And when that happens, no one says, bad design. They say, bad engineer. You grow up fast. Not because you want to, but because there's no time. A siege engineer has no right to fear. His fear costs too much. You work without sleep, in the rain, under arrows, under the curses of your own soldiers. You build machines that are meant to work only once. Because if they don't work, there is no second chance. One day, you make a mistake, a small one, the width of a finger. The tower survives the first impact, but on the second, the rope snaps. Wood groans, the structure tilts, soldiers fall, screams, blood. The commander looks at you for a long time, then he turns away. You are not punished. That's worse. From that day on, you know, the next mistake will not be forgiven. In the next siege, your machine works perfectly. The stone lands exactly where you calculated it would. The wall shudders. A crack appears, then another. The gates collapse. The city is almost taken. Commanders clap you on the shoulder. For the first time, you are seated at the same table as the men who usually send others to die. They pour you wine. Someone says, without you, there would have been no victory. And it is exactly at this moment that siege engineers die most often, because the war is almost over. And now a question appears that no one says out loud. Why do we still need you? You know where the wall was weakest, how to bypass the moat, which towers are a bluff, which gates can be taken in a single night. You know too much. You are no longer a tool. You are a risk. You are not rewarded. You are not promoted. You are not invited on the next campaign. Instead, you are asked to inspect the damage, to make sure the wall won't collapse, to go down into the tunnel. The guards step back too far. You are given only one torch. You descend, and suddenly you understand. If you don't come back out, no one is coming after you. The chronicles will record the names of kings, generals, heroes who charged through the breach. Your name will not be there, because the dead do not demand rewards, and they do not reveal secrets. You did not die in battle. You did not fall on the wall. You did not die like a hero. You disappeared. And that is why most siege engineers never lived to old age. Not because they were weak, but because they were too useful. If you had known from the very beginning that after the victory you would be eliminated, would you still have built that machine?